Hey, good morning, everybody. Listen, I tried to channel the angel Raphael this morning for all of you live on Instagram, and Raphael's vibration blew out the circuit. So we're going to give this another try. For those of you who are new to the angel Raphael, my name is Kolodney. I've been channeling the angel Raphael since 1989. I had a spontaneous spiritual awakening during the harmonic convergence that brought this magnificent loving energy through my body. I know a lot of you might be feeling some anxiety or fear. A lot of things are going on the planet right now and are happening, and it's some uncertain times. So it's always nice to hear from the angelic realm to help us get centered and open our hearts and feel good. So if you're listening right now, just drop into your breath and down into the earth and open up into the universe and put a smile, big smile on your face, because whenever you do that, it releases endorphins and opens up your heart, and we'll bring in Raphael. All right. How this process works is I'm going to close my eyes. I kind of bow back and forth. That's the energy moving through me. My hands move. I make toning sounds. It's a little weird, and I'm pretty brave to do this right here on Instagram. But I'm going to bring Raphael in for all of you. It is my gift to you, and a big thank you to Feel Good for mentioning Angel Raphael on his Instagram and getting the word out to hear her loving messages. So here we go. Wow. Hello, hello, hello,
Hello.
hello, hello,
Hello.
hello. Hello, hello, hello,
Hello.
hello,
Hello.
hello. Hello. It is my understanding that I was already talking to all of you, and yet we're wanting to talk some more, for I did not mean to interfere with the vibration of your electric frequencies or equipment here, which you are using, for it is that it has perhaps overloaded things. So perhaps this will be better for all of you. And so what is it you're wanting to talk about?
Well, thank you so much, Raphael, for having the patience to come on and talk to us again after our technical difficulties.
My pleasure. I am patient, I'm an angel.
So speaking of being an angel and everything, I just want to, for anybody who wasn't on the Instagram Live, to go over where exactly you come from, what it is like to be there, and what is it like to really be an angel.
There are no words to use in your language to begin to describe where it is that I come from. And we also want to remind you that whatever it is that I am saying today is really irrelevant to the vibration of who it is that I am and what it is that I am bringing to you. So just open your heart and receive the vibrational frequencies that are coming through at this particular time, and know that the words and the stories and the information are here in a way to distract you from our light, in which we are pouring in right now into all of your cells. And we also want you to know, before we begin to answer any of these questions in which you might be asking, that we love you and that we adore you, and that you are not alone, and that you are divine and absolutely perfect as you are, and that there is nothing, absolutely nothing, which you have to do or be or become or even achieve to be loved. That it is all right to just absolutely love yourself for who you are in this now moment. And so what is it, you ask me, what is it like where it is that I am? It is an energy and a vibration of complete and absolute unconditional love. when you leave your body, what you understand to be death. And I want to remind you that there really is no death, that you are completely infinite and continuous. You are here for this tiny little bleep or flash of a moment in which you understand in linear time to be where you are. But it is temporary. And it falls away, as do this body that you hold right now, that is holding your spirit and your light. But when you leave it, you return back to this place. Many of you describe it, have gone for a short period and back as this love that you can't even use words to explain, and this light. And that is exactly what it is. And it's an energy that pulsates, that is completely unified in love. And that place is a place that you came from. And you and I sat there together. And as we were sitting there together, we had an agreement, and we said, hey, angel, I'm feeling a call, a pulsing that's coming right now to individualize myself, to drop into form, and I'm going to go to earth. And so all the beings of light came together, and they said, all right, well, what are you going to do when you get there? What's your contract? What are you going to learn? How are you going to contribute? And what's your part? And we got clear on that, and you decided what family you were going to have and what was going to happen. And you decided to go on this brave journey to earth, where a veil was drawn in the forgetting of where you came from and who it is that you are and the essence of your divinity. And you began to drop into spiral, as we call it, and fall in a way into density, into form. And you fell into the womb of your mother, and you came out, and you decided to play the game of the human experience with all the rules and all the agreements that you've all agreed upon along the way, to be in this beautiful place that you call earth, and to have this magnificent and beautiful human experience. So here you are. And my job was that we said, hey, if I forget who I am, and I forget my divinity, and I forget where I came from and the impermanence of who it is that I am, and I drop so far into density and form that my remembering is so distant in the past, will you come and wake me up and nudge me a little and remind me of who I am? And I say, yes, of course I shall. So I maintain myself in that space of beauty and love. And yet when an impulse comes and a calling comes, I come and I nudge you. And I only really need to nudge one of you to wake up, because you're all the same, although you forget that in the illusion of the separation in which you understand to be self, that is clothed in the ego and the identity of who you are. And when I wake you up, some of you wake up easier than others. Some of you, it's just like I need to whisper a little bit or take a feather across your forehead. Some of you need a little rustling in the morning, and others need an alarm clock, and others of you need a great explosion to wake you up. And you say, well, what is waking up really? Well, waking up is remembering your divinity, and it is opening up your heart into unconditional love. Many of you ask me, how do I get there? How do I wake up? Well, if you're listening to this and you're tuning into it, it means you're already on the path of awakening. So I come from this place that you think of and know as the angelic realm, where I have never incarnated into form or matter, nor will I. For I maintain myself in that space of love, of emptiness, to feel the pulsation of the breath of the pull to come at any given moment in time to speak to you and to share my love and to remind you of how beautiful and perfect and divine you are as you are. And as I do that and my message comes to a close, I return back to that space. So I'm here right now to talk to all of you about whatever it is you're wanting to talk about. And so what is it?
Thank you so much, Raphael. It's so amazing to have you here and to tell us about where you come from. So today we want to talk a little bit about how the structures of our current world are starting to collapse, and how we as humans with these contracts to do things should prepare for these structures collapsing around us, and what that might look like in the future.
sensitive to energy. You can feel the shift happening on the planet, and you can feel the change in consciousness occurring right now as you are moving through a doorway and a gateway and releasing and letting go of old ways that are no longer serving you. It is that you have collectively agreed upon this particular game in which many of you have chosen to engage and to play in. And this game is very much based on hierarchy and on separation, on one being greater or less than another, on the sense of ego and identity of self and the mind of the creation of what you are wanting to bring into form. And the idea of institutions and particular energies and structures that are holding all of this in place to keep you in many respects in this deep sleep of forgetting. And what's happening is that although it may be contrary to what you are thinking, because when you tune in and pay attention to what's going on, you might think that there's more separation, more duality, more division than there ever has been before. And yet when we tune in from our perspective, we don't see you in your body as form and matter, but we see you of these beautiful beings and balls in a sense of light, and that your light is merging more and more together, and that although there are those that are placing their attention or their light for you to focus on the separation, more and more of you are opening your heart to unity and coming together as one entity or energy of unconditional love. And so these forms, these structures that we speak of, we have for a very long time, are just the ideas that you've decided how things work, how things are governed, how things operate in your society and in your economics and in your education and in your food system and in your medicine. And yet they are no longer working for many, and they're beginning to shift and to change, and so they're going to begin to dissolve and to open up. And as they begin to open up, there's going to be a bit of a rattling feeling, a shaking feeling, and a letting go of old things. And the year ahead will continue to be a bit chaotic, you might say, and a lot of change will be coming. But it's nothing to be afraid of. It's a beautiful time to be alive. And if you're here right now, you've chosen to be a witness and to be alive during these times and to watch the collapsing and the letting go of old systems that were holding you in a place of division and hierarchy, in which you are moving into a greater and new space of equilibrium and equality and unity and love. And so they will begin to fall. And they may take some time in order to do so. It's not going to be an overnight process, and it will happen slowly. But as it begins to occur, new things are going to begin to emerge. And you're going to begin to find your way into being uncomfortable and to feeling a way to be comfortable in the uncomfortableness. And perhaps we can talk about that a little bit, because many of you are always asking, well, all this chaos is going on. I feel all this stress and anxiety, and I don't know what's going to happen, and everything feels unsure. Well, it is designed that way for you to be uncomfortable and to be in a place of the unknown, for it is pushing you into the presence of the now. It is bringing you into the presence of wherever it is you are now, here in this moment. And in this moment, right here, wherever you are, it is divine and it is perfect. And so what we're wanting you to do is to keep breathing and to step into this emptiness and into this space of the divine now. Because right here in that emptiness and in that vastness of that space is where you find peace. And it is that many of you talk to me all the time about this thought process, and that your thoughts create your reality, and that you are wanting to manifest or to create something. For you were asking me earlier about lack, and I want to reiterate what it is that we are saying, because this is very important. That many of you are feeling anxious or afraid, or that you don't have enough, or that so many people on the planet are in what you might call scarcity consciousness. And then you talk about this idea of creating and manifesting and the law of attraction. That's all very well and good. And we want to talk about it for a moment, because it is that you've decided that if you start thinking, I have enough, or I am abundant, and I am in abundance, that you are. And there is great truth to that, but it is so much more than that, because it is that only about 5% of your thoughts that are coming from that affirmation of what you're creating are conscious, and it is that unconscious thinking that is behind, that is developed at a very early age in utero and through the times of age of 0 to 7, and all of those beliefs that are created that time are carried with you through a lifetime, and are the momentum and the energy that is what is bringing forth the projection of your reality, in which you experience to be your known idea of what is true. And so in order to bring more what you would call abundance, is that there is a releasing of that belief. And the way to release those beliefs is to go into the emptiness. And the way to go into the emptiness is to find the vastness of the space of the nothingness in which you came from, that place in which we spoke of, in which I reside. And it is that in that place is the awareness, and in the awareness is the aliveness, and in the aliveness of that space where the mind is still is where the energy of creation of all things exists, that you can tap into and begin to feel the pulsation of it and begin to move it, to bring it forth and to collaborate and to bring it together to form matter, to be the illusion of that projection of the experience in the holographic field of whatever it is you're wanting to create. So many of you say to me, how do I get there? What do I do? I'm so anxious. I'm so afraid. It is that you're only anxious and afraid because you're projecting what might happen in the future, or you're worrying and contemplating and dwelling and reiterating around a cycle of thoughts about the past, or something I have done or shouldn't have done or should have said or didn't say. Or you're ruminating against someone in your life that you have anger toward, or that's triggering you, or that you're frustrated with, or you're thinking about how you're going to make money for tomorrow, or that you're out of work, or what's going to happen. And you're constantly moving the wheels of the mind around and around in all the soup of thought. And those thought processes then go out into your field, which you are fully made of, for you are 90% just energy, although you think of yourself as solid in the illusion that you think you are only form and matter. You are vibrating a frequency of light. You are energy, and that is all it is that you are. And so when those projected energies and thoughts and continuous thought patterns keep perpetuating themselves, they begin to form into that energy field to project something in your reality. And you say, all right, isn't that what you were saying, that everyone's always talking about, that your thoughts are creating your reality? Well, yes, in many respects they are, but they are the unconscious thoughts. You might sit down for 5 minutes a day and do a focused creation in the manifestation of what you are creating. But if all that thought that is going on behind the scenes that you're not even aware of is bringing something else into your experience, and you're wondering, well, how come it's not working for me? Because it can only work from you if you can elevate your vibration to a place that is higher than whatever the reality that you've created from was created in. And in order to do that, you must drop into the nothingness. And in order to drop into the nothingness, you must release the thought altogether and let go of the thought. And how do you let go of the thought? You breathe. And how do you breathe? You just breathe and allow the thoughts to pass by as you move behind as the witness of what you're thinking, not being what you're thinking, but watching it. And so when you can move into that more and more, giving more attention to the emptiness, to the space between the breath, to the space between the thoughts, to the space between form and matter and the objects that you even look at a room, to the spaciousness of the universe, tapping into the blackness, going all the way out into the universal field in your meditation, as you feel the infinite of space above you, behind you, on either side of you, you start to drop into that floating spot of remembering where I live, and where you felt that pulsation to come into form came where you lived, in that emptiness of everything. And the more you do that, the more comfortable you become in it, the less you are in the ego and in the projection of who it is that you think you are. Then from there, Doorways open, things happen, people come into your reality, synchronicities occur, magic happens, abundance begins to flow because inherently you have the birthright to be abundant. And what is abundance anyway? It is the feeling of joyfulness. Many of you are seeking for something more. Well, when I have more money or a bigger car or a more beautiful home, then I'll be okay. When my job is successful and I have everything in place, then I'll be good. Then I can do this or I can do that. But what is the label of success itself? And once you're there, aren't you always seeking for something more or something else? So what is it you're really looking to achieve or to get or to have? You're looking for joy. You're looking for a sense of contemplation, a sense of completeness, a sense of wholeness, a sense of love. And that's what you're really seeking, that feeling that you think you're going to get in that rush of those things, that once you have received them, you're looking for something more. So rather than projecting into the creation of what you're wanting in the future, rather dwelling on whatever has happened or has occurred in the past, as you move into the presence of an open heart and unconditional love for where it is that you are, feeling joy and gratitude for the simple things of washing your hands or the beautiful water on your face in the shower in the morning or the presence of each bite of your food that you are taking in, or the holding or the kissing of a loved one, or the work in which you're doing, when you're fully engaged in the presence of your work, whatever that is, you do it with such excellence because you're doing it not from a place of distance where the thought is somewhere else, but fully present where you are. And it is in the presence of the now and the stillness that the anxiety, the fear, the depression that you might be feeling cannot live or dwell, because in that presence of here, in the breath of that stillness of the empty space is where I dwell, and where the essence of the love of who you are dwells. And that is the place in which you're all moving toward. And so when you ask about these structures and these forms that have created your experience and your reality of the collective agreement in which you've all agreed upon to be truth, begin to shake and crumble, of course lots of you are going to be upset, and many of you are going to grab onto them and say, but no, this is how it always has been. This is how reality is. This is what I want reality to be. This is what I've known my whole life. And why now is it all shaking? I don't and cannot even make plans for next week or a month or two from now, due to perhaps the virus or different circumstances, because everything has been designed right now to shake you up, to force you to not be able to make plans, because it brings you into forcing you into that emptiness of the presence of the now. And from that place, the ego dissolves. And as the ego dissolves, the spirit and the heart opens. And as the spirit and the heart opens, you begin to evolve collectively into something new. Because it is that where it is in those lower frequencies of this idea of separation, ego, hierarchy, greater, less than, more things, more consumption that you have lived and dwelled in for so long, you cannot continue like this as a collective human race or in your consciousness, nor can the planet receive this any longer, for she is tired. And she cannot hold that vibration for you any longer. So you and her are intertwined together, and she is evolving in her consciousness, as are you. And as you move together and spiral together, you are evolving into something new, and you are letting go of the old. And so you're witnessing the change of guard, a change in paradigm, a change in a way of the game. The game of separation is over. The out-breath has expanded as far as it can go, and you have fragmented into as many pieces, billions and billions of you. And now you're going to breathe back in collectively. And as you breathe in collectively, things might feel uncomfortable because the vibration is going to lift, and it won't be something that you're used to. And as it lifts, it's sort of like plugging in an outlet into too many things, and it might start to feel like it's frying or overloading, because the frequency can only be held if you can begin to match it. And so you must hold it for not only yourself but for the collective, so that the chaos and the friction or the blowout is not as raggedy, is not as intense, so which is easier for all of you to pass through this portal of energy into this new space of emptiness that you are moving into, which is based in love, forgiveness, and gratitude. And so in order to do that, the only way to find peace during these times is to go inside. You're not going to find it out there. No one's going to give you the answer. I might be talking to you and telling you all of these things, but I have nothing special to say that you do not already know deep within your own being, because all the answers, everything you're looking for, it's already in you, as I am in you. And it is that going deep and delving into the physical body is where your truth and your knowing and that love resides. Sometimes you think you have to spiral out into the heavens, and you even think that I, as an angel Raphael, am outside of you somewhere floating around with big wings and clouds in the heavens. But really, I'm inside you. I'm in your cells. I'm in your DNA, and you are getting an upgrade in your DNA. Your vibrational frequency is rising. Your whole molecular structure is receiving more light, and more light is coming in. You're moving into your light bodies. And in order to move into your light bodies, you must move into a state of awareness. And in that state of awareness, in that state of stillness, is the place, the presence, in which the thought form can be dropped in like a beautiful little seed that then can grow and blossom into the projection of your reality. So stop looking outside for the answer. Sit in contemplation. Sit in meditation. Sit with the breath. Come together collectively as groups and chant and sing and dance and play and sway. Go climb the trees and swim in the oceans. Lay in the grass. Kiss your loved ones. Feel the sand in your toes. Feel the earth. Love the earth. Listen to the birds. Watch the butterflies. Hold the babies. Pet the puppies. Breathe in the sweetness of life. And you say, yes, but how can I do all that? I have 3 jobs and I have no money. You always have your consciousness. You always have 10 minutes to drop into the stillness. And those 10 minutes into 15, perhaps you get up at 5 a.m. with the sunrise and allow the sun to hit your third eye, and to open up your pineal gland and to sit in the presence for 20 minutes. Perhaps you do it during the middle of the night. I don't know when you find that time. Linear time is an illusion anyway, and as the mind keeps going around and around, all that energy that you're putting into all the things that you're worried about could be released back into the universe, and you could expand that energy into your stillness. And as you expand the energy into the quietness of nothing, into what you might call meditation, whether it be through chanting or through the breath or through movement or yoga or qigong, it is those practices bring you back to center, and that practice in that place opens up the space. So when you say you don't have time to meditate, you don't have time not to meditate, because the reality in which you are experiencing right now cannot shift until you drop into the emptiness of nothing. It is in the emptiness and the quiet of the mind, in the spaciousness of the pulsation of the unconditional love, in feeling the spark of the presence of the now, for longer and longer and more expended periods of time, that the ease of grace of the flow of your life occurs, and the synchronicities and the playfulness of that in which you are thinking you must achieve fall into place, because the thinking has subsided. So when you ask me what is wrong with the human collective consciousness and humanity as you find yourselves in war, in division, in starvation, in poverty, and in pain, it is the thinking mind. It is the obsession with thinking. And when you release the mind and move into the aliveness of the awareness, you become comfortable with even what is projected and labeled as uncomfortable, or even comfortable with what is labeled or seen as fear, because it begins to dissolve. For it is the resistance to what is that creates suffering. But it is the willingness to drop into the presence of where you are, holding that love in the heart with the smile on your face and gratitude, and the forgiveness in your heart for those that you are harboring pain and suffering toward, or anger or resentment, that the space opens and all the things that you are seeking and looking for come into alignment.
Thank you so much, Raphael. That was a beautiful message.
Oh, you are welcome. Is that all for today?
Yes.
Yes, and we shall talk again soon. And remember that I love you. Good day.
Good day.